Blessings and peace to you. This is SB Favor Thinking Podcast, and my name is SB Favor. How are you doing today? It is Saturday, April 1st, 2023. Another wonderful day and another day to be thankful. And as I always say, if you focus on what is good, then you can project something good to happen. It does not benefit you at all to focus on the negative things. Yes, there are a lot of negative things going on, but you do not have to focus on it. Hit it and quit it. Leave it alone and focus on what is good. If you're out there traveling about today, make sure you are doing your part to stay safe, keeping yourself safe and keeping your family members safe. Use that hand sanitizer, and if you need to wear your mask for any reason, if you feel like you need to, then do that too. But keep yourself safe and make sure you pray. Gotta pray. If you would like to give to the podcast, you can give at Cash App, $ SB Favor. Thank you so much for your support and your donations. Well, Jaki Draper is here with me today to co-host, and we are going to just randomly talk about a couple things, but we want to make sure we keep it good because we don't talk about the gossip and all that crazy stuff that's going on in the world. So, Jaki, how are you doing?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm good as I could be. As I was telling you earlier, I was having a conversation with somebody and they tried to gaslight me. So I had to run for my life, but I'm okay. Sometimes that happens. You could be trying to have a conversation with somebody and they just become what they call it, Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde on you.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Well, yeah, what you were telling me, they were saying to you, they obviously aren't someone who knows you very well.
Well, you know how that goes. Somebody can know you all your life, but not really know you.
Right.
Be around you.
Definitely.
It could be around you all your life,
Right.
but not really know you. So, but yeah, sometimes we all have those days where we might not be at our best. So, maybe that person was going through something. I don't know. But I'm okay, because after the conversation, I did pray and I'm in good spirits, but they tried to gaslight me. Like I could feel the fire coming on. I was like, no, this is not happening today. So, but I am fine. Yeah. But there was something I wanted to talk about pertaining to mastering. The question came to me, what are you mastering? And the word mastering, when I think about skill in terms of what are you working on to perfect, or what are your goals, or what do you want to perfect, or what do you want to make better? What are you mastering? What comes to your mind when you think about that, Jaki?
Well, what comes to my mind is things that I need to master.
Mm-hmm.
Which clearly I'm starting off in a negative mindset by when you say, what are you mastering? That's actually a positive question. Like, what are you doing well? But my mind immediately goes to, what do I need to do well? What am I failing at? What am I not mastering?
Yeah.
So maybe my mindset is what I need to be mastering.
Well, yeah, that's the most important thing is the mind, because what we think every day determines what's going to actually happen. If you focus on something a long time, then you give faith and energy to it. So yeah, I think for me personally,
it's not even conscious, it's subconscious.
Yeah, absolutely. To master something is to just become better at it, to make it better, to become sharper, to perfect it. None of us we will never be perfect on this earth. Never. Right. I don't care how much you try to be perfect, but you can make all things better. For somebody like LeBron James and Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, look at them. They perfected or tried to perfect the way they play basketball, right? So, practice. And so Me personally, right now, currently, I am trying to master or make better my health and wellness regimen every day. I've been fasting. I've been eating less.
Mm,
I think that the body needs rest, and if we're constantly eating, I don't think the body gets rest.
right.
Yeah, so
Well, it's funny
it's
that there's so many theories on that because there are theories of health that say you should eat every 2 hours. And then there's the
really
theories of the fasting where you should go multiple hours without eating.
well. I think that there are so many different views on it because it depends on the lifestyle of the person. Like, for an
Right.
example, like an athlete has to eat because they're exerting a lot of energy,
Right.
right? But for someone that is not doing the same, I don't know, maybe it works differently. But for me personally, I have a lot of energy when I fast. I fast maybe like 8 hours or 12 hours, 16 hours, and then I eat within a certain time frame.
Right.
And I have a lot of energy. I like the feeling of having a lot of energy. And then when it's time for me to eat, I can eat what I want. I don't feel that bloating feeling after I eat, you know. There is a pleasure to it, and I can't explain it. It's a feeling that I get. I have a feeling of wellness when I fast versus eating all day long. Like if I eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacking in between, um, I don't have that wellness feeling that I have.
Right.
So fasting is something that I decided to do. What, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I started doing it, and it has worked. And recently, I decided to do it more because I think that when you fast, it regulates everything in your body. I was watching this doctor um, talk about how cells, they go through a reset when we fast. The bad
Right.
cells are chased down by the good cells, and it's like a reset. And then I've heard other people say the same, like people that were actually diagnosed with different diseases. They fasted and they did different things along with their fast, of course, prayer, and they're doing better. So
Well, I've looked into some fasting
mhm,
because, just hearing it casually like you're saying where you just fast for so many hours and then you eat whatever you want.
right.
Well, that's not exactly true because I personally don't eat all day and I eat at night and I am so starving by the end of the day. But I don't eat during the day because I'm busy working and I'm busy
Right.
doing all my stuff and I don't think about food. I don't have access to my food because I have a job where I'm running around all the time.
Hmm.
So when I eat what's convenient, I eat what tastes good,
Hmm.
and I live in a house that has kids in it, so I have crappy food here,
Okay.
and um, and
Right.
so I have access to ice cream and
Yeah.
chips,
Yeah.
and 2 nights in a row I had chips and salsa for dinner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I was
Well,
just so hungry when I came home. I was too tired to eat. I was looking for something that I could eat
fast.
quickly,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
there's this wonderful, amazing, like very healthy salsa, but I'm
Right.
mixing it with these chips. And
Yeah.
and I ate that until while I watched a little bit of TV, and then
Mhm.
just that's not good.
No, it's not good, but you know
It doesn't
what?
make you feel good either.
No, especially if you eat a lot of it, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but
And when you're
I
eating what's convenient. So
mhm,
I actually was saying that, I'm going to go actually today and
mhm,
go grocery shopping. And I bought a bunch of little glass containers and I'm
mhm,
going to meal prep so that whenever I come home, I have a nice, healthy meal that I can
right,
pop into the microwave and then just eat that and not eat the junk food. And I'm telling the girls, I'm like, okay, this food is off limits to you guys. This is my food.
Right.
And, I'm
Well,
eating
that's good. That's good. I mean, it's it's meal prep is always good because it allows you the opportunity to just think about what you should eat, right? So,
right.
but yeah, mastering something or preparing for a change or a new goal that you want to accomplish. I think that we all should be mastering something. When I thought about that word mastering, I started thinking about many years ago when I wasn't committed to the things I really wanted. Isn't that something? I wanted certain things, but I wasn't committed to it. Tell me that
Right.
that's crazy. That's crazy, right? How are you going to
Well,
want something and not be
I'm
committed
sure
to
we
it?
all have it. I definitely have that
Right, right. So,
syndrome right
so
now.
yeah. So from that, I learned a valuable lesson, and the lesson I learned was when you want when you want to accomplish something,
Mhm.
you have to commit to it at 100%, and you have to master what you are committed to. Now,
Right.
I'm not talking about, like I said, being perfect, but you master it because you become so good at it that you understand it, you know what to do, you have the knowledge and the wisdom of it, and you master it to the point where you can help and teach somebody else.
Right.
So, when I thought about the word mastering, I started thinking about the areas in my life in the past concerning that, because I said, man, I wasn't committed to a lot of things. And so that's why I didn't see the results that I wanted to see. But now I'm a different person. I've grown up, of course. And I see results based upon what I'm committed to, and I see results based upon what I am trying to master. You know, um, some people have to master their finances, right?
You're right.
Because our life should be set up like a business, right?
Sure.
Because if you set if you set up everything in your life like a business in terms of how you pay your bills and budget and manage, you could do anything when it comes to business if you look at it like that.
Certainly.
Right. And so I started thinking about that. One day I made some Excel sheets with all my bills and all that stuff. And when I did that, I said, wow, this is teaching me about how to structure a business, my life, right?
Right.
How I pay my bills, when I pay my bills, budgeting, all that good stuff. But anyway, mastering something is something for us as individuals to reap the benefit of when we take effort and apply it to what we are trying to master every single day. When you decide to master something, if you take 30 minutes of your time, 10 minutes of your time, an hour of your time every single day, and you apply it to what you want to master, then over time you're going to see the manifestation of what you're trying to master. I'm applying that for myself, and that is why I'm talking about this.
Right.
Because a lot of people, like I said, sometimes, with some people, they walk around, they say, oh, well, I don't have anything to master. I'm successful and I've gotten everything that I want. But there's always something new that we can learn. There's always something new that we can do, right?
Absolutely.
I tell myself all the time, like, okay, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? One of my friends said, well, you don't need to do anything. Yes, I do, because I'm still alive.
Right. Constant growth.
What's that?
Constant growth.
Constant growth. I mean, like what that's a good word. That's a good way of saying that. Constant growth. Mastering something is constant growth. That's good. But what else comes to your mind when you think about that mastering? To master something.
Well, I'm a person that has like too many projects going on at a time.
Right.
So I am more like the jack of all trades and master of none.
Oh, really?
That
Good.
I
Okay.
get, I have a lot of things going on at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So like we were talking about mindset before, I'm sure that there's some subconscious thing in me that makes me think I need to constantly be busy to have too many things going on at a time. So I feel like I'm constantly growing because I'm constantly doing, but I'm taking all of these projects to a certain level and not expanding them. And then the things that I had mastered, so to speak, are falling by the wayside because I'm not focusing on them anymore. A lot
Oh,
of times,
wow.
even things that we are really do really well, you have to still keep them focused or they fall apart, which like health is one of the main things I'm talking
Right.
about.
Exactly.
My health, I joined a gym that's $200 a month and I've been
Right.
once,
Oh,
yeah.
Jackie. Oh,
I know, right? Because I'm too busy. My schedule
yeah.
doesn't permit it, and
Yeah.
and I'm coming home and eating chips and salsa for dinner. And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's not the typical me. The typical
Yeah.
me is someone who does take care of her health. And
Right.
so I have to figure out balance. I was like, I think I need a mindset coach to figure out why I sabotage myself so frequently.
Well, that's another reason why I wanted to talk about this topic. What are you mastering? The question. The reason why is because sometimes we do things and don't even know why we are doing it. And if you are doing multiple things or multiple projects or just all over the place, because I've
Right.
been there too, then we can't master what we really want to master if we are doing too many things at one time.
Yes,
See,
I agree.
to master something is to have a concentration, a focus on the thing you want to see manifest and expand, right?
Right.
Many years ago, when I used to do open mic in Philadelphia, I used to go to different places to sing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I started getting gigs and people were asking me to do certain things. And instead of doing what I said I loved, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And you know why? Because years ago, I didn't have discipline. So now I'm working on mastering the discipline. So that's
Right.
another reason why I decided to fast, because I want the discipline over not eating crazy,
I
right?
love that.
Right. So that's another reason why when I thought about, okay, what am I mastering? I said, okay, discipline, diligence, structure. I started thinking about all those different things. But
Right.
discipline is one that I think about all the time because there are levels to discipline. Levels of discipline has to do with how you manage time, what time you get up, how you do things, how you structure things in your life. That's discipline,
Right.
right? And so with a discipline in different areas, I realize that it gives me peace. It gives me more peace to be disciplined versus not being disciplined at all. If I don't eat right, I don't feel right.
Right. But I think also that being disciplined gives you a sense of control
Right.
as well. Where when I'm not disciplined as I'm living right now, I feel a little out of control. And I think that
Right.
can spiral into things like a mindset problem, like allowing other things to not be in control. Like, well, I am extremely in control in anything that has to do with my clients. My
Right.
clients are my first responsibility, and
Mhm.
anything they need is, in their eyes, I'm sure I do everything perfectly, but
Right.
in the things that are not monitored by clients, my own stuff is not
Mhm.
necessarily perfect at this point.
Right.
I'm allowing things to not be in control. I mean, they're not
Well,
like crazy out of control, but they're not where I like them to be.
you know what? I would say to you to get a journal, right?
Right. I have a lot of
And
empty journals.
right, empty
I have full ones too.
empty journals. Well, okay, start writing in one of your
Yeah.
journals. Plan out your day how you want your day to be.
Right.
Right? Start at the top of the day. Get up early enough to sit down with yourself, right?
Hmm.
To, like you say, do self inventory, right?
Right.
You always say that.
Yes.
And write down how you want your day to be, what you want your week to be, and what
Hmm.
you want your month to be.
Right.
Project what I'm not going to use the word want. I take that back. I'm going to use the word project
Right.
because I don't like using the word want. That doesn't
Right.
sound right to me. But project what you want your day to be, right?
Yes.
Project what you want your week to be. And when you start off like that by the day,
Hmm.
that's going to help you to develop the structure. I'm sure you have a planner and all that stuff.
Right.
Start with time management, right?
Yes.
And it's going to affect how you think, and then how you think is going to start to manifest what you have projected.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. I have a checklist of things that I have to do sometimes every day.
Hmm.
And I give myself a week to do it, right? A
Right.
checklist of certain things, my agenda. And every time I complete the task, I check it off that it's done, right? And so what I do is I make sure that I'm accountable for my day to get at least one of those things on that checklist done,
Right.
right? So if I don't do anything at all, I feel horrible. It's like, no, I don't want that feeling.
Right.
But when I complete the checklist, I feel so accomplished.
Right.
I feel this peace that comes over me like, you did it. Now, I know that's a small thing. I know that's a small
No.
thing. But if you do that, if you get up early enough to give yourself 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour to think, 1 hour to pray, 1 hour to be with yourself, to know what you need to do for you, then you're going to be able to be something greater for everybody else. You got to do that. And I'm saying it like that because I used to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning,
Hmm.
meditate and pray. I don't do it anymore. Sometimes every now and then, but not like I used to. And when I would do that, my whole day was just always so great.
Right.
That's when I used to work in the office. I don't care if the most craziest person says something to me, I would just look at them and smile, like whatever, and just keep going, right? So, what I'm saying to you is start at the top of the day to take control of the day.
Right.
The reason why certain things kind of go crazy in our lives and go haywire sometimes is because we don't take control of the beginning of the day.
Yes.
It's a roadmap that you create. It's a roadmap that we create when we wake up and we determine and declare that, okay, this day is going to be this way.
Right.
I project that this Saturday, this day, even though this individual tried to gaslight me, I said this Saturday, this day is good, right?
Yes.
So when I got the phone call and they tried to gaslight me, I had to push back, I had to pull back and tell myself, no, this day is going to be good. I'm not going to be
Hmm.
walking around with bad energy and a bad spirit. And I have a lot to be thankful for. I have so many good things that's going on that I could look at versus the negative things, right?
Right.
So that's what we have to do. We have to start the day taking absolute control of our day. I always tell a friend of mine, don't let the day come to you. You create your day.
Right.
Because some people get up in the morning and they say, "Oh Lord, this is gonna be one of them days." That's projecting
Oh
to
yeah.
the sun,
Definitely. Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes. I'm very conscious of that. Yes.
Right. So if we get up early enough and take that quiet moment, even if it's not an hour, that's fine. Even if it's just 15 minutes, just
Right.
get with yourself in that moment and take control of the day. Write some stuff down, plan some stuff out. Tell yourself and project that this day is going to be exactly what I say is going to be.
Right.
Period. No in between.
Yes.
Simply because we have the power to do that. We shouldn't live our lives being dragged.
Yes.
I tell myself all the time, if I get a phone call or email, a piece of mail, I
Hmm.
tell, no, I'm not going to be dragged. Being dragged means you just get dragged
Yeah.
by anything that happens, anything that's said, anything that goes on. You just being dragged off. Person can be dragged
Right.
all over the place, and there's no end to it.
Right. You let the events of the day control you and control your mood and control your actions instead of you controlling your mood and your actions.
That's right. So when we wake up in the morning and we declare and project that it is a good day, is present tense, right?
Hmm.
You
Right.
have mastered that moment to take on that moment to spread through your day.
Right.
In that very moment, when I get up in the morning, if my phone rings first thing in the morning, soon as I get up, I may not answer it. I look at the phone like it's a foreign object. Like, no way, I'm not answering that. They
Yes.
let them text me because I don't know what that is. Unless it's my daughter or if it's somebody in my family, and it's kind of awkward that they would call me so early. That's different. But if somebody that normally doesn't call me early in the morning, and all of a sudden they decide to call me early in the morning and tell me about their best friends, cousins, aunts, uncles is cheating on cousin Mary, Aunt Lila, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. So I'm not going to answer because that's going to throw me off.
Right.
Right? But anyway, all of us have something to master. All of us have something that we should be projecting to change, something we should be projecting to experience, something we should be projecting to be better, sharper. All of us have something, right?
Yes.
But anyway, I want to do a panel of women to discuss this topic even further, because we all have something to share and give to one another to help one another.
Right.
And somebody else's experience could be a blessing to you, could be a blessing to me. And I think that a panel of women just talking about their successes and their failures,
Right.
that could be a blessing to other people. And the reason why I say talking about their failures is because you get wisdom and knowledge from your failures. Failures are
Right.
not waste.
Right.
Failures are not, some people say, oh, I failed. No, a failure is not a waste. It's not a
Absolutely.
waste.
No.
It is a
Absolutely.
lesson. It is knowledge obtained from an experience. That's what failure is. That's what it is. So, but yeah, we can definitely do better and master what we say we can master. We can, I think it's a
Absolutely.
matter of mindset. You mentioned mindset,
Absolutely. Hmm.
and mindset is where it begins. Mindset is where it begins. You mentioned that earlier when we were
Yes.
talking about before we started the podcast.
You sabotage yourself with your mindset, or you can propel yourself with it.
Right.
And a lot of things, I have a very positive mindset, but I always find it funny whenever, like just now, whenever I just said that, It's like, whoa, that's not how I see myself as a person. So clearly there are aspects in my life that I'm sabotaging myself without realizing it.
Video and audio. And Jackie just dropped out, but she's back. Can you hear me, Jackie?
Oh, I can hear you. I couldn't hear you before while I was talking.
Well, you said something and then I was listening, so it just dropped out for a second and then it came back. But what were you saying? You said we sabotage ourselves.
I was saying that we sabotage ourselves or we can propel ourselves with our thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
as you're always talking about your thoughts.
Yeah.
And I consider myself a very positive mindset person. And then there'll be aspects like just now today when you said, you know, what are you mastering? And my immediate thought is, where am I failing?
Mm-hmm.
And so clearly I'm sabotaging myself in some areas without realizing it.
Well, the good thing about it all is to recognize that there's an area you have to change. You understand what you have to change.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
that's where you have to take control, and that has to do with mindset. Because in that moment, when we realize that we have something we have to change,
Mm-hmm.
we can become better or become worse.
Right.
And so developing a different mindset about the thing we have to change
Mm-hmm.
is going to push us into a place of effort,
Right.
because you know you have to do it to feel better, to be better, and to just experience the thing you projected.
Right.
So I thought about that yesterday. I said, okay, I want to be very disciplined about my eating, and I want to make sure that I'm practicing eating well with discipline and feeling well consistently, right?
Right.
But if I'm not doing what I say I'm going to do, then how am I going to reap the benefits?
Right.
So it has
Absolutely.
to do with my mind. So this week, all week, I listened to motivational speakers, inspirational podcasts. I listened to everything and everyone that could be a help to me in some type of way, to be reminded of my goal.
Mm-hmm.
What am I mastering? I ask myself the question, what can I do right now to learn something new? What do I want to learn new? I have to master something, because something more, because when you decide, when you make a conscious decision that you want to be better, that you want to do better, that you are going to experience what you are projecting, then there's a joy that comes with it all. There's a peace that comes with it all. I mean, think about it. I mean, when you know that you have accomplished the very thing that you said you was going to accomplish, when you wrote something down and now you see the manifestation of it, that is joy.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
And so that's what I want to experience, because having the right thoughts and the right attitude with the right words coming out of your mouth and manifesting the things that you have projected, that's everyday creativity. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
I think that sometimes when people develop negative attitudes and they fall by the wayside and they just be like, well, I don't care, it's going to happen anyway. Like some people say, well, I'm just going to eat when I want to eat and I'm going to die anyway. Some people
Mm.
some
Oh,
people
yeah.
talk like that, right?
Right.
That's the wrong attitude to
That's
have.
so sad. Yes.
Yeah, and then some people say, oh, well, I tried to lose weight and I'm just tired of trying. The word tired has entered their attitude,
Right.
and we shouldn't even use that word.
And the trying.
I believe with all my heart that if you take 10 minutes of your day, 30 minutes of your day, an hour of your day, if you take a little bit of time every day and apply it to the thing you want to master, you will become better at the very thing you say you want to be better with or at.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I agree.
We have to we have to believe and understand that your effort matters and your effort builds and your effort counts every single day. I don't care what it is you are trying to accomplish. The very thing that you want to master, you can master. You can. And when I say master, understand this. Know what your gift is. Know what your talents are. I'm not talking about trying to do trigonometry when you know you just never been good at math. I'm not talking about that because I'm not a math person. Okay. I'm talking about when you know that you have a passion for something, a gift to do something, you know what your abilities are. You know you can do it. You believe you can do it. There are days you may feel like you can't do it, but don't think that way.
Right.
Believe that the very thing that you desire and project to master, you can master. Be better, be sharper, be all together. Master it.
Right.
I used to have a bad attitude, Jackie.
Did you? I can't imagine you like that. I can't
Yeah,
even imagine you like that.
yeah, I had a bad attitude because I was used to getting everything that I want, right?
Right.
I grew up getting what I wanted, and I grew up with a certain type of attitude where if I wanted something in a certain way, I would have it some way, somehow, right?
Sure.
And I think that when I was in my early 20s and I started working for different companies, I had supervisors and managers that would chastise me, right?
Mm.
And I started praying more during that time. And I could remember hearing a voice tell me, humble yourself, humble yourself. I could hear a voice telling me, don't say nothing, be quiet. I can hear a voice telling me that my attitude was hindering me.
Mm.
Yes, yes. And that voice was God.
Right.
I'm like, who's this? What am I hearing? I wasn't drinking. I wasn't doing no drugs, nothing like that. No, that's what I was hearing. And so along the way, I went through different types of hardships. I went through different types of situations and circumstances that showed me that I had a bad attitude. And then one day I asked God to forgive me. And as I started growing older, later into my 30s, I started really, really working on myself and developing a different type of mindset. So by the time I was 35, I told myself, I said, I got to change my mindset.
Right.
So the mind equals the attitude. The attitude equals the reaction and the manifestation of actions all around us.
Right.
So if you believe you can do something, if you apply yourself to something one step at a time, a little at a time, every single day, the very thing that you want to manifest, the thing that you projected to manifest will manifest. And the very thing that you are projecting to master, you will master
Mhm.
it.
Oh, definitely.
You will master it. Look, it is April 1st. It's April 1st, and we can start a journey of something today. And
Oh, yeah.
we can share it with the listeners. What do you want to do? Tell me what you want to do, and I'll do it with you. We can start some type of journey, the mastering, we can call it the mastering journey. Something we can commit to, something we can do as individuals or together And we could talk about our progress. We could talk about what we've learned along the way. And we can keep this conversation going because we all have something to master.
So we're all going to work on the same project,
We don't have to, but we can. It could
right?
be our attitude. Let's master what we need to do differently concerning our attitude. How about that? Our
Okay.
attitude. Because a lot of us sometimes, just because we may be a little older, some of us, and then some of us work in uh the medical field when it comes to psychiatry, and some of us have degrees, and that don't mean nothing.
Right.
That don't mean nothing, people. We still got to work on ourselves. We still have to understand what is going on with us as individuals. We don't worry about the other person. We
Right.
gotta check ourselves, because if we desire to project something different, to manifest something better, then it starts with our mind and our attitude.
I agree.
So we are starting today, April 1st, on this mastering our attitude journey.
Okay. Sounds great.
And we are going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about our progress. We're going to talk about our shortcomings, because when you talk about your shortcomings, it means you are being human. Nobody is
Right.
perfect.
Well, you can't fix something that you don't admit is a problem.
That's right.
If you're trying to hide the problem, then you have to bring it to light in order to see it, to fix it. You
That's
can't,
right.
just because you know you have a problem somewhere, and
Mhm.
if you're hiding it from people, you can't fix it. I mean, I
That's
don't
right.
think you should be, broadcasting your problems all over the place to people,
No.
but someone holding you accountable for things is important.
Right.
Even if you just have one person, or if you can, like, there's all kinds of Facebook groups you can join where these people are strangers, so they're not
Mhm.
going to judge you the way your family and friends would judge you. You can join different Facebook groups to focus on different aspects.
Yes. There you go. And make sure you journal. I
Right.
journal as often as I can, not a
Hmm.
whole lot, but I journal. And one of the things I ask myself at the beginning of
Hmm.
my first entry is, what is my attitude?
Right.
And the reason why I start off that way is because I want to evaluate what I'm thinking, where I
Hmm.
am within my thoughts. Am I thinking wrong? Am I thinking healthy? Am I thinking something that is not factually true? Am
Right.
I accusing someone? Am I stirring up feelings that I should not stir up? Because you can stir up the wrong feelings by how you think.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. You definitely can get lost in your own mind and imagine things that aren't actually real.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you say things out loud, you're like, wow, I can't believe I was thinking that. That's so ridiculous.
Right, right. Or thinking the wrong way about an individual. And then when you
Mhm.
see them, you're treating them so bad because you sat for 1 hour thinking the wrong way about them.
Right. And yes. Well,
Yeah.
how I check myself is I think to myself that I know that there are people out there that have no idea what's going on in my mind. So I don't make assumptions about what's going on in other people's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like when someone says something or does something, or lack of saying something or lack of doing something, I remind myself that they don't know what's going on with me in my world. They may misinterpret my behavior. So I don't need to be misinterpreting other people's behavior. I need to give the grace that I would like to have.
Exactly. Yes. And that's why it's so important to take that moment for ourselves in the
Right.
morning. Even when you, if it's not in the morning, well, you absolutely have to do it in the morning. But sometimes what I do is, if I'm out and about, when I get in my car, let's say I'm in the grocery store, or if I'm
Right.
just out, and then as soon as I get in my car, I pause. I sit and I pause for just a minute or two. Then I turn the car on.
Oh, Your high school driving coach would probably be very proud of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
think
do that.
in real life we definitely don't do that enough.
Yeah, I do that just to come to myself and reflect on what needs to be done.
Right.
And I do that so that if I need to pray about anything at all, I pray right there in that moment.
Right.
Because sometimes, when I'm out and about, if I come in contact with different people, I may not even know them, but I can feel what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
I get in the car, like, okay, let me get that off my mind. And I'll pray just for 5 minutes or so. Then I will start driving. So what I do is I pause throughout the day. I
Right.
get up early and when I get up, I take a moment for myself. But that meditation and that prayer, that pausing, I do that throughout the day. Not all the time, but I do it often
Right.
when I can. But yeah, so we need to remember that if we want to experience something better and something new, then we have to commit to the thing that we are projecting. We have to commit to it.
Yes.
We have to commit to experiencing the very thing that we are projecting. Now, when it comes to relationships, if you're doing your part and the other person's not doing their part, just forget them and just work on you. Okay? Because you can't force somebody to do the work they don't want to do. Because I'm going to just be honest with you.
Right.
I know people that I love dearly. And if they don't want to do the work, I'm going to love you, but I'm going to love you from a distance.
Right. But yes, you can only be responsible for your own behavior.
That's right. That's right. Because peace is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
It's beautiful. And we don't have to walk around with bad attitudes and bad energy and a bad spirit. And every time something is not in agreement with you, there's this bad energy. We don't have to be like that. We don't have to be like that. We just don't. I put out an inspirational quote earlier this week and I stepped on some toes of strangers. I don't even know these people. I just put out an inspirational quote because that's what I do. It's an edifying quote that makes you think. That's it, right? I put it out.
And one of your inspirational quotes, somebody didn't like it?
Oh, they freaked. Well, what happened was this. I put out the quote and minutes later they sent me a message saying people can raise their children the way they want to raise their children. Listen, I didn't say anything wrong. They just felt bad because of something that's going on.
They were doing what you said not to do.
Was that?
They were doing what you said not to do, probably.
Yeah, they was thinking the wrong way.
Right.
Or what happens is sometimes you could say something publicly, right?
Right.
And God can use what you say to convict or correct that person. It has nothing to do with the messenger.
Yes. There's a message, and then how you receive it is up to you.
Right.
100%.
Exactly.
You can say one sentence and 100 people will receive it differently. Absolutely.
Exactly. And so
you can't be responsible for how people receive it. You're only responsible for what you say.
Exactly. Like somebody said to me, we did an episode about shame. Reject the shame from your life in your past. Don't you know somebody wrote me and said, you shouldn't reject the shame of your past? How crazy does that sound? So, it's all good. I just, I pray for people. I don't trip. I don't say, oh, well, let me respond to them. No, because everybody has a right to their own opinion. And maybe they just misunderstood the whole point of it all. I don't know.
Right.
But we all have a great responsibility to make sure that we are thinking the right way. As an individual, thinking the right way is not only for you, it's for the person that's you're in the presence of, or it's for the person that you're connected to.
Right.
Don't we should all desire to be more pleasant, right?
Yes.
And so, but if somebody's not thinking right, they're definitely not going to be talking right, like the gaslighter earlier, Jackie. you know,
Well, this person too could be just, lost in their own world, and their perception is just what is in their reality.
absolutely, yeah. I think that yeah, I think that
And that's why you got
when
to do like you did. You have to just say, okay, we're going to agree to disagree, and I got to get out of this conversation because this isn't going anywhere.
yeah, when you're having a conversation with someone and you know that the conversation is not going in a direction that is pleasant,
Right.
you should always end it,
Yes.
because it's just not healthy to try to force or make someone believe something that they just refuse to believe. And then you have some people that will just, no matter what you say, you'll always be wrong to them. No
Right.
matter what you say, you could say the sky is really blue and the sky is blue, but they'll say, the sky is gray, because
Right.
you said it. They want to discredit you. So, but the point of it all, what I'm saying is, we have to master our attitudes. And even when it comes to conversations and how we react and what we do, we have something to master, right?
Right.
Whether it's health and wellness, attitudes, reactions, mindsets, relationships. There are so many different things that we can work on. You know, me having this experience earlier where I was having a conversation and somebody tried to gaslight me, I just looked at it like, well, maybe that was just my test for the day. I don't know.
Right.
Because everything I said to the individual, they didn't hear me. And because they wasn't listening, I had to end the conversation.
Right.
But you can never argue or defend yourself when somebody is trying to gaslight you.
Right.
Don't do it. That's a danger zone, because that person will have you looking like an absolute fool, and they could be laughing at you the whole time because they said something that triggered you over the top. Gaslighting is just triggering, Jackie. That's all it is. It's just
Well,
triggering.
right. And then when someone is triggered, then you are now speaking from a place of emotion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you just have to do like you did. You're just like, you know what? I
Yeah.
have to exit this conversation. I told you, but I had a conversation about 2 weeks ago with someone, and I became very emotionally charged, and
Mm-hmm.
I literally could hear God saying, you need to exit this conversation before you say
Wow.
something that you don't mean. And that I could just feel that I
Mm-hmm.
was being emotional and not logical. And I prefer to be logical.
Yeah. When this person was saying what they were saying to me today, I paused and I listened to
Mhm.
everything that the individual said.
Right.
I listened really good, and but for them to keep trying to make me they tried to make me the villain
Right.
over nothing, right? And when they tried to make me the villain, I said, "What is this? This is a narcissistic what
Well,
gaslighting incident, right?"
I've told you before, my dad, I didn't know the word, I didn't know what stoic meant at the time, but my dad was a very stoic person. My dad was in the military for like 11 years, and he has a personality for that, where he can separate his emotions from his actions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that's where I get my desire to be more logical, because just the way I was raised. And as when I was a child, for my sister and I, and someone would behave like that, he would tell us, always look at it from a point of view that, oh, this poor person, they don't they don't have the right vantage point, or we should not like pity or feel sorry for necessarily, but but kind of like you're feeling sorry for them because they're not able to see it from a more enlightened point of view.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that's unfortunate for them. Oh, poor that brush it off. They're not in our world. They don't think on our level. They're poor thing. If they, instead of being offended by them, instead of taking things personal that they say, they just don't know any better. My dad would say, well, maybe they just don't know any better. Maybe their parents don't spend time with them. Maybe their parents don't teach them right, and that's why they behave this way. Oh, that poor child. You know, and
Yeah.
and that's actually holds true for adult relationships too.
Hmm.
Because if you spend your whole life thinking in one direction, and like you said, they have developed a skill of elevating themselves by gaslighting others
Right.
instead of actually trying to see things from multiple points of view. They want
Right.
everyone to see things from their point of view, so they decide to gaslight people.
Right.
And they're the ones who don't have a good fulfilled mastering life, because they're so busy trying to change everyone else's mind to match their own. They're not
Right.
learning.
Right. Absolutely. And they don't really see where they are in the
Right.
moment
Yeah.
because
That
yeah.
poor dumb thing. Gosh.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
sad.
Well, when we work on ourselves, we only
Yes.
become assets to other people,
Right.
because all of us have something that we have to work on, and none of us are perfect. None of us are uh, at 100% all the time. We all have something we have to work on, and it's nothing wrong with being honest with yourself, being honest with others, even if you're having a challenging day. It's okay to say,
Mhm.
hey, I'm having a challenging day, because some people, they have challenging days and they project their issues onto others, and they walk around in this stinking attitude or mindset, and everything that comes out, it goes on to other people in a negative way, and that's just not fair. And so we're not supposed to do that. And I think that when you have a level of self-awareness, you can't mistreat other people like that. You
Right.
just can't do it. When you are fully aware of yourself and what you're doing, how you're thinking, and just you as an individual, you can't just mistreat people and do things and just say, oh, well, that's on them. Oh, they did this to me. No,
Right.
because you are accountable for yourself, you know? And when I was having this conversation with this individual earlier, the first thing I thought about was, did I say something wrong here? What am I saying? But when they started accusing me of something, I said, okay, now we got to go. I got to go, because
Right.
this conversation is going to another place. And so, but in the midst of all of it, I learned something again. And that is, I have to be continually careful of how I think, what I'm saying, and the tone of how I'm saying it. I have to be accountable for me. They got to look
Right.
at themselves, because if you get into a verbal confrontation with someone, and if you don't evaluate yourself, then guess what? You don't learn nothing.
Right.
So, but yeah, we're going to stay on this journey of mastering our attitude and evaluating our thoughts to do something better, be something better, do something good, because it's important. Last week when I was thinking about content for the podcast, and of course I do pray about these things, and I'm going to tell you this, Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the midst of praying, I kept hearing thoughts. You got to keep talking about thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I said, thoughts? And it came to me that no matter where you live, how you live, no matter how much money you have, no matter where you have traveled or what you have done, if you have not mastered your thought life, if you have not renewed your mind to deal with your past traumas, if you have not done the work to renew your mind when it comes to what is not, what is sound, and what is good, and then guess what? That person is jacked up. And we all have work to do when it comes to our thoughts. All of us have to have a regenerated mindset. All of us. It doesn't matter. Some people say, oh, well, I've been in the church all of my life and I've done all of these great things. That person, look, negative thoughts and thoughts that are not good or evil, they're still going to try to come.
Right.
But we as individuals, we have to deal with it. We have to be honest about what we're thinking and determine, am I doing the work? Am I exercising, getting rid of bad thoughts? Am I exercising that correctly? Or am I one of those people that sit back for a whole hour and just think everybody hates me and I'm rejected? And because if you sit down and you think about all those things long enough, then you just created the very thing you thought about.
Right.
So we have to constantly do the work to elevate our thinking into a place that is healthy, a place
Right.
that helps us to be better people, to have a better mindset with better attitudes toward one another. It's levels to it though, Jackie. It's so many levels to it because all of us are so different. And that's why so many people can relate to one another. And then there's another group of people can't relate to one another at all because of their mindset.
True.
And then some people, they feel like they don't have to change at all. They don't have to relate to anything because their way is right and that's it. That's the bottom line. No, there is no concluded way of thinking. Thinking to me is always progressive in terms of continual learning.
Right.
There is no just, okay, that's it. No, it's not, because as long as we are on the earth, we have to keep learning. And if we love ourselves, then we should position ourselves to progressively change every single day in some kind of way. So what do you think of that? On the journey of mastering our thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So
I'm in.
yeah. So the panel. I think we should put together a panel of women to talk about this, and I think it'll be good. I think it'll be real good.
I
So
agree.
yeah. So listeners, we thank you for tuning in to listen to SB Favorite Thinking Podcast. You have anything else you want to share, Jackie?
No, I think that's great.
Okay. All right, listeners. Well, we will be putting together a panel of women to talk about what are mastering. We're going to follow up with this topic because it's a good topic. We all have to do the work if we want to experience something better and be better as individuals. So we're going to talk about this topic very soon. Again, thank you, Jackie, for joining me on this episode. And
My pleasure.
listeners, if you need to reach me, you can reach me at sbfavor@yahoo.com via email. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at sbfavor. And as I mentioned earlier, if you would like to give to the podcast, you can give at Cash App, $sbfavor. If you would like to give another way, you can just send me an email and I'll give you some instructions. I appreciate your support and your donations. Also, please subscribe to me wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Audible. Just look me up and you will find me somewhere. Make sure you subscribe also to my YouTube channel. We are recording live on audio and video on YouTube, that is, and everywhere else is audio. So thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Make sure you share this podcast with others, and wherever you subscribe, make sure you click like and leave me some feedback. And you can always find me at sbfavor@yahoo.com once again. And I appreciate you and thank you again for tuning in. Share the podcast with others. Talk to you soon. Have a good day.